Dear students, let us start a new topic, that is calorimetry. So calorie means heat and metry means measurement. Okay, so we are going to deal with the measurement of heat during the in the topic calorimetry. Okay, so our topic is calorimetry. Before going into the detail of the topic, first of all, let us understand few terms, few simple terms, right, which are specific heat capacity, heat capacity, molar heat capacity, molar heat capacity at constant pressure, molar heat capacity at constant pressure, lastly we have molar heat capacity at constant volume, molar heat capacity at constant volume. And then we have, okay, water equivalent, latent heat of fusion and latent heat of vaporization, right? Latent heat of fusion, lastly we have latent heat of vaporization, latent heat of vaporization. Okay, right? So now see, specific heat capacity is basically the heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, so if we have the formula for heat, which is mass into specific heat into change in temperature. So S is going to be the specific heat capacity, that is the heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass by 1 degree Celsius. What is the heat capacity? It is the heat required to raise the temperature of whole body irrespective of its mass by 1 degree Celsius. Similarly, you have molar heat capacity, heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Molar heat capacity, pressure being constant, molar heat capacity, volume being constant. See, what about the water equivalent? See, suppose this is a marker, right? I supply 100 joule of heat to this marker and the temperature of this marker raises by 2 degrees Celsius. Now I want to replace this marker by some amount of water which would behave in the same fashion as the marker was behaving. That means if I supply 100 joule of heat to that amount of water, then the temperature of the water also rises by 2 degrees Celsius. Then the amount of water which is capable of replacing this marker is called the water equivalent of the marker, right? And if you are asked to find the water equivalent of any substance, you multiply the mass of the substance by its specific heat capacity, right? See, latent heat of fusion is the amount of heat required to convert 1 gram, say solid, to 1 gram liquid at its melting point without change in temperature. Similarly, latent heat of vaporization is the amount of heat required to convert unit mass of liquid to vapor at its boiling point without changing the temperature, right? Can you note down, dear students? So the next topic is going to be determination of specific heat of a substance. There is a substance whose specific heat is unknown and you are given a task to calculate the specific heat of that substance, right? So determination of specific heat of a substance, specific heat of a substance. So we are asked to calculate the specific heat for a substance, right? Okay, see, you have a calorimeter. Calorimeter is basically a box which is insulating. There is no loss of heat, right? It is insulated from the surroundings. Okay, and initially this calorimeter has some water in it, mass of water being m1. Okay, this substance has mass m2, specific heat capacity S, and temperature T2. It is very hot, right? And water is initially at T1 degrees Celsius. Okay, right. Now you drop this substance into the water, into the container, and finally what you find? Finally you find that temperature of the whole system becomes T degrees Celsius. Temperature, final temperature becomes final temperature is equal to, dear students, T degrees Celsius, right? This is water, and the substance that was placed inside water is here, right? Now what do you expect? You expect that the heat lost by this substance is actually equal to heat gained by water plus heat gained by walls of the calorimeter, neglecting any loss of heat. Okay, so heat lost by the substance is equal to mass of the substance is m2, its specific heat capacity is S, mass of substance is m2, specific heat capacity is S, change in temperature is T2 minus T, right? And heat gained by water is mass of water, specific heat of water, change in temperature is T minus T1. You just keep in mind that T is obviously greater than T1 but less than T2 here. Okay, plus mass of calorimeter into specific heat of calorimeter into change in temperature. Okay, right. Now this that specific heat capacity of water is 1 calorie per gram, so this is going to be 1 measured in calories. When you multiply the mass of a substance by its specific heat capacity, you get the water equivalent of that substance. So this is W, water equivalent of calorimeter. Okay, this is m2 into S into T2 minus T. So we get the specific heat capacity as m1 plus W into T minus T1 divided by m2 into T2 minus T, definitely. So using this formula, dear students, you can easily calculate the specific heat of a substance, right? Whose specific heat is not known, you can easily get the specific heat of that substance. Okay, right. Kindly note down, dear students. See, in this calorimetry, we shall also study that is called Newton's law of cooling. So the next topic is going to be Newton's law of cooling. Okay. See, when you keep tea in a cup, hot tea in a cup, its temperature increases, right? Its temperature decreases, right? It cools down. So we are basically going to compare the rate of cooling. We are actually here to study the rate of cooling now. In what manner, in what fashion that tea is going to cool, right? Let me explain you that when the difference between the system and surrounding is large, the rate of cooling is large, and when the difference decreases gradually, the rate of cooling also decreases. That means your tea is going to lose more heat in initial 10 minutes rather than later on time. Okay. Okay. So this is Newton's law of cooling. So what do you say about this? Initially, say the temperature of the system was T1. At some instant of time, the temperature of the system is capital T. Right? So this is rate of loss of heat. Rate of loss of heat is basically directly proportional to difference in temperature of system and surroundings. Okay, at an instant, if the temperature of the system is capital T and temperature of surrounding is T0, so rate of loss of heat is directly proportional to difference in temperature of system and surroundings, right? Okay. So this becomes minus dq by dt. Since there is a loss of heat, so we have put a negative sign. Okay, when the proportionality sign goes, we are going to put a constant, that is capital K. Here capital K is not the coefficient of thermal conductivity, it is some constant, right? Now you know that Q is equal to mass into specific heat into temperature. This is minus dt by dt into rather mst, minus dt by dt mst is K times T minus T naught, right? Okay, so we get the formula as minus dt by dt equals to K by ms T minus T naught. I am writing K by ms at small k. Let K by ms is some constant, that is small k, right? Minus dt by dt is kt minus t naught. Okay, right. So this is the formula, approximate formula used for numericals. This is an approx formula used for numericals, right? Okay, and see, note one important thing, that capital T here can be taken as the average. If you take the capital T as average, you are going to get almost the exact result, almost, right? So this is one of the formula which is an approximate formula for doing the numericals. It makes the calculations very easy, right? But okay, let us now find what is the actual formula also. Okay, dear students, see. So let me write this formula, which is, you know, minus dt by dt is equal to K times T minus T naught, right? See, one major limitation of Newton's law of cooling is that it is valid only when the difference in temperature of system and surrounding is up to 40 degrees Celsius. What will happen if the difference in the temperature of system and surrounding is much greater than 40 degrees Celsius? In that case, we use Stephen's law. So you can say that Newton's law is basically a special case of Stephen's law when the temperature difference is say up to 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, we'll be dealing with Stephen's law after this topic. This is, you know, dt by t minus t naught equals to minus k dt integral, right? Integral initial temperature being T1, final being T2, 0 to T, right? So you know this is ln T minus T naught from T1 to T2 minus KT, okay? This is, you know, ln T2 minus T naught, ln T2 minus T naught minus ln T1 minus T naught equals to minus KT, right? So you multiply by minus 1, so this becomes ln T1 minus T naught minus ln T2 minus T naught equals to KT. Okay, so this is ln T1 minus T naught divided by T2 minus T naught equals to, you know, KT, right, dear students? Okay, so if you convert this ln into log, you are going to get this thing, 2.303 log of T1 minus T naught divided by T2 minus T naught equals to this small k into T, definitely, dear students, right? Okay, this is the exact formula which should be used for numericals, but rather we use this formula for numericals because this formula makes the calculations extremely easy. Okay, right? This is the preferable formula. Although this is the right formula, this is the correct one, this is an approximate formula, but it gives a fairly good enough result, right? Okay, kindly note down, dear students. Let us now draw some graphs. Okay. Now let us integrate both sides. So integral of t minus t naught is going to be, you know, ln t minus t naught without limits, ln t minus t naught minus kt plus some constant, that constant is integration constant. So we have got a graph here, So ln of, the difference between the temperature of system and surroundings is going to be a straight line with a negative slope. Ln T minus T naught versus time is going to be a straight line with a negative slope. Okay, right. Now you know that ln T minus T naught is equal to minus kT plus C. So this T minus T naught equals to e to the power minus kT plus C. This is the formula of maths, right? When ln goes to that side, becomes e. Okay, right, dear students? This is T minus T naught e to the power minus kT into e to the power C. This e to the power C becomes a constant a e to the power minus kT. Okay, so when you plot a graph between difference in temperature of system and surroundings, you are basically going to get an exponential decay with time, right? So this shows an exponential decay, dear students, right, dear students? Okay, right. So kindly note down, dear students. Kindly note down, dear students. Dear students, let us do a simple numerical based on Newton's law of cooling. A body cools from 70 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes. In how much time? In how much time it will cool from 60 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius, temperature of the surrounding being 30 degrees Celsius, right, dear students? Okay, see, let us use an approximate formula. Okay, we are doing Newton's law of cooling. Let me erase the heading. Okay, right. So a body cools from 70 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius in 10 minutes, right? So we have a formula here, minus dt by dt equals to k. T was the average of T1 and T2 minus T naught, right? So this is minus, the difference in temperature is 60 minus 70 divided by time taken is 10 minutes equals to k, the average of 60 plus 70 by 2 minus surrounding is going to be 30. This was case 1, dear students, right? And again for case 2 it is for case 2 it is temperature changing from 60 to 50. So this is 50 minus 60 divided by time we don't know, dt is equal to small k, the average of two temperatures 50 plus 60 by 2 minus the surrounding temperature, obviously. So when you divide equation 1 by equation 2, you are going to get something. Let us see what is that something. See this, okay, this minus 10 and minus 10 are going to cancel. So we are going to get dt by 10 minutes, okay, right, equals to 60 plus 70, 135, okay, is it? Yes, 60 plus 70 is basically 130, 130 by 2 is 65, 65 minus 30 is 35, okay. Right, this is 110, that is 55, 55 minus 30 is 25, okay, right, dear students. So we have got the answer here clearly. You can get the value of dt here. Dt is 10 into 35 by 25 minutes. You can cancel, okay. This is 7, this is 7, this is 5. So we are going to get 14 minutes as the answer, dear students, okay, right. So initially the rate of cooling is more, and finally and gradually the rate of cooling decreases. Right, dear students, kindly note down. See, now we have Stephen's law, or you say Stephens-Boltzmann law, right? Stephens-Boltzmann law. Stephens-Boltzmann law. See, when the difference of the temperature of system and surrounding is very large, obviously greater than 40 degrees Celsius, or maybe 100 degrees Celsius, maybe 1000 degrees Celsius, or maybe anything, right? So in that case, you use Stephens-Boltzmann law for rate of cooling. So this is, rate of, rather it is energy radiated per unit area per unit time, energy radiated, right, divided by area per unit time equals to sigma epsilon T to the power 4 minus T naught to the power 4, dear students. Symbols have their usual meaning, sigma being Stephen's constant. Sigma is, Stephen's constant. Right, this is Stephen's constant. Value of Stephen's constant is 5.67 into 10 to the power minus 8 watt per meter square Kelvin to the power 4. Right, epsilon is emissivity. Epsilon is basically emissivity. Capital T is temperature of system. Capital T is temperature of system. T naught is basically temperature of surroundings. Temperature of surroundings, right? Okay, dear students, right. Emissivity is usually between 0 to 1, and it is 1 for a perfectly black body, right, dear students? It is usually between 0 to 1, and it is 1 for perfectly black body. Okay, so right, if you are given with a a spherical ball of radius r, temperature being say 500 Kelvin, temperature of the surrounding being 200 Kelvin, right, and the another spherical ball of radius 2r, say temperature being 600 Kelvin, right, surrounding temperature being 300 Kelvin, and suppose you are asked to calculate their compare their rates of cooling, just their rates of cooling. That means what? Rates of cooling means energy radiated per unit time, not per unit area. Okay, see, how do we do that question? See, Stephens-Boltzmann law is valid for all difference of temperatures, and Newton's law of cooling is valid when the temperature difference is small, say up to 40 degrees Celsius. We can say that Newton's law of cooling is a special case of Stephens-Boltzmann law. Okay, right. Now let us compare P1 by P2. Okay, if see the emissivity is not mentioned, we are going to take the emissivity to be 1. Okay, see, sigma emissivity is 1. What is the value of capital T? It is 500 to the power 4 minus 200 to the power 4 into area of this sphere being 4 pi r square. Area goes to that side into 4 pi r square, definitely divided by sigma emissivity and right, 600 to the power 4 minus 300 to the power 4 into the area is 4 pi into 2r square, definitely, right, dear students? I hope this is clear to everyone, right? This is called Stephens-Boltzmann law. Now we have one more law, that is Wien's law. Wien's law, right, which is lambda m into capital T is equal to constant. The intensity, the energy of a black body is not distributed over all wavelengths. Rather, intensity is maximum for a particular wavelength, right? That is lambda m into capital T is a constant. Small b is 2.9 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter Kelvin. This is called Wien's displacement law or Wien's law. Right, dear students? Kindly note down. So dear students, let us do a question based on calorimetry, which is based on mixture of solid and liquid or mixture of liquids, right? You are mixing two quantities at different temperatures. So you have basically 1 gram ice, 1 gram ice at 0 degrees Celsius, right? And you have 1 gram water, 1 gram water at 40 degrees Celsius, right? So you are asked what will be the final contents of the mixture, right? Okay. See, heat required to melt 1 gram ice, okay? What is the heat required to melt 1 gram ice? Let us see. Heat required to melt 1 gram ice is basically mass into latent heat of fusion, which is 1 into 80. That is 80 calories of heat we require to melt the 1 gram ice, okay? Right. And what is the, see, this heat is extracted from the water and heat available on water. Heat available on water is, you know, it is mass into specific heat into change in temperature. Mass of water being 1, specific heat being 1, change in temperature being 40. So heat available is only 40 calories. So in order to melt this 1 gram ice, you need 80 calories. But since you have only 40 calories, so you won't be able to melt 1 gram ice. Rather, you will be able to melt half gram ice. So this half gram ice will melt into water. So you will be having half gram ice and 1.5 gram water at 0 degrees Celsius. These are the basically final contents of the mixture. It was a very easy question, dear students, right? Kindly note down, dear students. Dear students, let us now do the solved problems based on thermal properties of matter, right? So consider a compound slab consisting of two different materials, okay, different conductivities, having equal thickness and thermal conductivities K and 2K respectively. The equivalent thermal conductivity is. So let us assume that the slabs are being connected in series. It should be given whether they are connected in series or parallel. Compound slab, I am assuming it to be, you know, series combination of two. This is K1, this is K2. See, this thermal conductivity is given by 2 times K1 K2 divided by definitely K1 plus K2. Okay, so we are going to get 4K by 3 as the answer, easy one. Right, dear students, kindly note down. Okay, so the coefficient of thermal conductivity of copper is 9 times that of steel. Okay, this must be helpful for us. Coefficient of thermal conductivity of copper is 9K and that for steel is K, right? They are asking us to calculate the temperature of the junction. So heat current must be same through both of them, both are in series. Temperature difference 100 minus T divided by resistance, which is L by K into area, 18 by K, 9K into area, equals to temperature difference T minus 0 divided by 6 by definitely K into area. Okay, we are going to cancel few things. This, you know, this, okay, this K and A are going to cancel, K and A, right? This is going to be 2 and this is going to be total 3, right? So this 300 minus 3T equals to T going to be 75 degrees Celsius. Temperature of the junction being this 75 degrees Celsius, dear students. Okay, I have used the formula that heat current is temperature difference by thermal resistance. Okay, now let us move on to the next question. A slab consists of two parallel layers. So when in case of parallel layers, the equivalent thermal conductivity is K1 plus K2 by 2, right? This is K1 plus K2 by 2. Okay, now, right, we have a question for Wien's law now. Okay, a black body has a maximum wavelength lambda m, temperature is basically 2000, lambda dash into 3000, right? Lambda dash is 2 by 3 of lambda m, right? They have changed the temperature, so lambda will change. 2 by 3 of lambda m. Very easy question. Okay. Again, Wien's law. The wavelength of maximum energy, right? released during an atomic explosion has, this is lambda m into T is equal to small b, this is the formula. This is 2.93 into 10 to the power minus 10, right? Into capital T is unknown, small b, that is 2.93 into 10 to the power minus 3. T is going to be, 10 to the power 7 Kelvin, okay? 10 to the power 7 Kelvin is the answer, dear students, right? Two walls of thickness D1 and D2, right? Two walls have thickness D1 and D2. Let us make two walls. One wall has thickness D1, right? And the other wall has thickness D2, okay? Right. These two walls have thickness D1 and D2 and thermal conductivities as K1 and K2. Thermal conductivities are K1 and K2 are in contact. In the steady state, if the temperature at the outer surfaces are T1 and T2, then you are asked to calculate the temperature of the common wall, right? So dear students, you know that basically the heat flow is going to be same, both are in series. So temperature difference divided by resistance is D1 by K1 into, I think this is area is same for both of them. Yes, must be same, right? Equals to T minus T2 divided by D2 by K2 into area. Just take the LCM, dear students, you are going to get the answer. I am not going to solve it further. Kindly solve it yourself, okay? Right, a calorimeter of mass 0.2 kg, specific heat is, 900 joules per kg per Kelvin containing 0.5 kg of liquid of specific heat capacity 2400. Its temperature falls from, so this is loss of heat. Loss of heat is, mass of calorimeter, specific heat of calorimeter, change in temperature is, 5 degrees Celsius. Then mass of the liquid, specific heat capacity of liquid, right, into change in temperature is 5. In 1 minute, so you should divide by time 60, okay? This is, the rate of cooling, okay? Right, so this is 900 plus, this is, 900 by 60 plus 1200 into 5 divided by 60. We are going to cancel few things now. This is going to die. We are going to get 15 here and we are going to get 100 here. This becomes 115. So the answer is 115 joules per second. 115 joules per second. Okay, dear students? Now, a hot liquid is filled in a container and kept in a room of temperature 25 degrees Celsius. The liquid emits the heat at the rate of 200 joules per second. This is rate of cooling, right? Okay. When its temperature is 75 degrees Celsius. See, rate of cooling is proportional to difference in temperature of system and surrounding, which is 75 minus 25. If the temperature of the liquid becomes 40 degrees Celsius, so difference in temperature of system and surroundings is now this. You are asked to calculate the rate of cooling, okay? So this is, 200 divided by Q dash. This is 50 divided by definitely 15, okay? So this is Q dash. Q dash is 200 into 15 divided by 50. So we are going to get the answer as 60 joules per second, okay? So the answer is 60, right, dear students? Okay, easy one. 3 rods are made up of same material and having same cross section area. Same material having same cross section area. Let us assume their length to be same length. Obviously they have same length, right? So we are asked to calculate the temperature of the junction. See, so we have done a formula, shortcut formula, T1 by R1 plus T2 by R2 plus T3 by R3 divided by 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 is the formula for temperature of the junction. See, so this is 0 by r plus 90 by r plus 90 by r. 1 by r plus 1 by r plus 1 by r becomes 3 by r, dear students. So we are going to get the temperature of the junction as 60 degrees Celsius, definitely. 60 degrees Celsius being the correct answer. Okay. Okay, see, just keep in mind, this is a good question. Ice starts forming in lake with water at 0 degrees Celsius, and when the atmospheric temperature is minus 10 degrees Celsius, if the time taken for 1 centimeter ice is 7 hours, then the time taken for the thickness of ice to change from 1 to 2 centimeter is. See, dear students, there is a shortcut formula for freezing of lakes. See, the time for the layer of ice to be formed from 0 to y is proportional to y square. So time taken for ice layer to form 0 to 1 is 2, from 0 to 2, then from 0 to 3 centimeter is basically 1 square is 2, 2 square is 2, 3 square. However, the time taken to form the successive layers is basically the difference. See, 0 to 1, then you have 1 to 2, then you have 2 to 3. So this is the difference. 1 is 2, 4 minus 1, 3 is 2, 5. So if time taken to form first 1 centimeter is 7 hours, then from 1 centimeter to 2 centimeter it will be 21 hours, right? And then the next 1 centimeter will be 7 into 5, that is 35 hours. So let us see the option. No, 7 hours is incorrect, 14 hours is incorrect, this is incorrect. Most appropriate is more than 7 hours. Actually, the correct answer is 21 hours, right? See the next question, dear students. We have two slabs K1 and K2, other slab is K3. They have same dimensions, length and area is same. The points P and Q are maintained at different temperatures, say the temperature be T1 and T2, okay. There is same rate of flow of heat through this PRQ and PQ, okay. So you can assume this PRQ to be a single slab. Of conductivity 2K1 K2 divided by K1 plus K2, right? Length being 2L and area being A. And the PQ to be a single slab of conductivity K3, area A and length being definitely L, okay, right. Now let us equate the rate of flow of heat. So this is T1 minus T2 divided by the thermal resistance of the above part, which is 2L by K in series, which is 2K1 K2 divided by K1 plus K2 into area equals to T1 minus T2 divided by L by K3 into area, right. So we are going to cancel few things now. T1 minus T2, T1 minus T2, area, L, L, 2 and 2, right. So we get the answer, I suppose K3 as K1 into K2 divided by K1 plus K2. Is there any option like this? Yes, K3 is K1 into K2 divided by K1 plus K2 is the correct one, right, dear students? So Newton's law of cooling is a special case of Stephen's law, we all know that, right? Okay, Newton's law of cooling, we have plotted the graph already, that ln of difference in temperature of system and surrounding is going to be a straight line, right? If it would have been difference in temperature of system and surrounding, it would have been an exponential decay, right, dear students? Fourth option is the correct one. Six identical metallic rods, right? We have 6 identical metallic rods. AB, right? 6 identical metallic rods are joined together in a pattern as shown in the figure. Points A, B, C, D we have are maintained at temperature. So points A and D, this is at 60 degrees Celsius, this is at 240 degrees Celsius, right? The temperature of B is, okay, we are asked to calculate the temperature of B. Let us see, this is temperature of C and resistances being R, all are identical, okay? So heat flowing through this is 240, this is 240 minus temperature of point C divided by resistance, this is equal to now temperature of C minus temperature of B divided by resistance. R and R in series, R and R in series become 2R, 2R and 2R in parallel become R again. This is temperature at B minus 60 minus capital R, okay, right. R gets cancelled. We just equate these two values. Let us equate these two values. So this becomes 240 minus TC, 240 minus TC is equal to TC minus TB. So the formula is 2 times TC minus TB equals to 240. This is an equation. If you equate these equations, you get the next equation will be this TC minus 2 times TB equals to minus 60. Okay, dear students. Now you just solve by method of elimination. You are going to get the value of TB very easily. I hope you can do it yourself. If the temperature difference on the two sides of a wall are 100 degrees Celsius and 200 degrees Celsius, its thermal conductivity, see, thermal conductivity is a constant. It is not going to change if we change the temperature. It depends on the nature of material, right? So K remains same. Okay. So next question says, two rods A and B are of equal length. Their ends are kept between the same temperature and the areas of cross section are A1 and A2. Thermal conductivity is K1 and K2. The rate of flow of heat of two rods will be equal. See, dQ by dt of one rod equals to dQ by dt through the other rod, which is K1 A1 temperature difference by length equals to K2 A2 again temperature difference divided by length. So this temperature difference by length is going to cancel, right? So we are going to get K1 into A1 equals to K2 into A2, right? So this is K1 into A1, right? I'm sorry, K1 A1 is equal to K2 A2 is the correct answer, right, dear students? Okay. Next question. Which of the following circular rods, radius and length are given, each made up of same material, will conduct the most? See, the rate of dear students, let us now solve this question. Which of the following circular rods given radius R and length L, right, each made of same material as whose ends are maintained at same temperature will conduct most heat? See, rate of flow of heat is basically equal to Ka delta T divided by length. So you can say that rate of flow of heat is actually directly proportional to area divided by length, right? Now see, one having the larger area will conduct more heat and lesser length, right? So we have the case of, see, area is more in this case, 2R0, 2R0, right? Right? But length is less, right? So I think this is going to be the correct option. See, you can see the option wise result, radius square divided by length. So this becomes 4 by 2. Radius square divided by length 4 by 1, radius square divided by length, and radius square divided by length. So second option being the correct one, right, dear students? Now two rods of same length and material, right, transfer a given amount of heat in 12 seconds when they are joined end to end, right? Okay, but when they are joined lengthwise, end to end means series, End to end means, dear students, series combination, right? And lengthwise means parallel combination. Okay, right. See, Q upon T, rate of flow of heat. So time is given here. Time is, I think it is 12 seconds, right? 12 seconds is equal to K. See, in series combination, effective value of K is 2K1 K2 divided by K1 plus K2, right? So it is K only, 2K1 K2 divided by K1 plus K2. K, area, temperature difference divided by length is going to be 2L, I suppose. Yes. Now we want the same heat to be radiated in some time T. So effective value of K is, K1 plus K2 by 2, right? Is it? Yes, it is. This is K basically, right? And area is, 2A into delta T divided by length, dear students. Okay. So just equate the value of Q, or you can divide the values, you will get the answer, right? So this Q by 12 divided by Q by T is actually equal to Ka delta T divided by 2L into K into 2A into delta T divided by definitely length, dear students, right? So I suppose T is going to be, 3 seconds. Okay. 12, I think the answer is going to be 3 seconds. Yes. Right, dear students? Okay. If the radius of a star is capital R and it acts like a black body, emissivity being 1, right? What would be the temperature of the star in which the rate of energy production is? See, energy production rate. When they are saying rate, so this is Q divided by energy production, energy per unit area per unit time. Energy per unit time becomes energy production divided by area is 4 pi r square equals to, sigma capital T to the power 4. Okay. I suppose this is the easy question. So we are going to get Q by 4 pi r square into sigma raised to the power 1 by 4. Q divided by 4 pi r square sigma raised to the power 1 by 4 is the correct option, dear students, right? The rate of radiation of a black body at 0 degrees Celsius is E. See, energy is basically proportional to temperature to the power 4, that is 273 raised to the power 4. Okay, and at 273 degrees Celsius it would be, double of 273 raised to the power 4. So we are going to get 16 times of E. We are going to get basically 16 times of E, dear students. Okay. Two spherical black bodies there, okay, two spherical black bodies of radius R1 and R2, temperatures T1 and T2 radiate the same, okay. So that is, okay, heat radiated per unit time per unit area, okay, equals to sigma T1 to the power 4, again Q by T into 4 pi R2 square is again sigma T2 to the power 4, right? We are asked to find the ratio of the radius R1 and R2. So, this equation 2 divided by equation 1 will become T2 to the power 4 divided by T1 to the power 4, and this is going to be R1 square by R2 square. So we can get R1 by R2 as T2 by T1 square, T2 by T1 square definitely, right? There are two rods, dear students, one semicircular and other straight of same material and same cross section area, joined as shown in figure. The two points A and B are maintained at different temperature. Let temperature at point A be T1 and temperature at point B be T2. Okay. So we are asked to find the ratio of heat transferred through a cross section of semicircular. See, rate of flow of heat is basically K, A, area is A, temperature difference which is same, divided by length of the semicircular portion is going to be, I think, pi r, okay, yes it is, and rate of flow of heat through the straight portion is, K, A, temperature difference divided by the diameter, right? Right. So you just find the ratio. So now the ratio of semicircular to the cross section portion will be 2 by pi. Okay. The temperature of two outer surfaces of a composite slab consisting of two materials having conductivity K and 2K, thickness X and 4X, right? Temperature is T2 and T1, T2 being greater than T1. The rate of heat transfer through the slab in a steady state is, okay. See, the resistance of both the slabs in series is R1 plus R2, right? Okay. So this is, L by K into area plus, L by K into area, okay. This is X by Ka plus 2X by Ka. We are going to get resistance as 3X divided by K into area, right? Now rate of flow of heat is basically rate of flow of heat is basically K rather temperature difference divided by resistance. What is the resistance? It is 3X by K into area. So we get area into delta T into K divided by 3X, but it is given that rate of flow of heat is something else. So it is A delta T into K by X into F, right? So degree of freedom, sorry, it is not degree of freedom. Value of F is 1 by 3. Usually we write F as degree of freedom, so I just said it degree of freedom. Small f is actually 1 by 3, right, dear students? Small f is some constant and we wanted to find the value of small f, right? Okay. The ratio of the thermal conductivity of two rods of different material is 5:4, okay. So one rod has the conductivity 5K and the other rod has conductivity 4K. The two of same cross section area. Okay, they have the same thermal resistance. See, this length is L1, this length be L2. Resistance is going to be L by K into area, and its resistance is going to be L2 by K into area. So we are going to equate the resistances. R1 is equal to R2, it is given, which is L1 by 5K into area equals to L2 by 4K into area, right? Area and area, K and K get cancelled. So we are going to get the ratio as L1 by L2 equals to 5 by 4 again, right? Right. So 5 by 4 again is the answer. Right, dear students? So we have a question. One end of a metal rod of length 1 meter and area of cross section 100 centimeter square is maintained at 100 degrees Celsius, right? One end is maintained at 100 degrees Celsius and the other end is maintained at 0 degrees Celsius, right? The quantity of heat transmitted through the rod per minute is, see, the rate of transmission of heat is Ka temperature difference divided by length. This is per second. This is in joules per second, right? Okay, right. So K is given to be 100. Yes, it is. Area, converting it into meter square, becomes 10 to the power minus 2. Area, temperature difference is again 100. Length is 1. Okay. So we get this rate of flow of heat as 100, and in 1 minute it is going to be Q by 60 seconds is equal to 100. We are going to get Q as 60 into 10 to the power 3 joules is the amount of heat transferred in 1 minute. Okay, right? Mud houses are cooler because mud is a bad conductor of heat, right? Mud doesn't conduct heat, or it is a very bad conductor of heat. I think this is clear to everyone, dear students, right? Okay.